but it is a matter of historic record. But from this podium, Winston Churchill asked the free world to stand together against the onslaught of aggression. Franklin Delano Roosevelt spoke of a day of infamy and summoned a nation to arms. Douglas MacArthur made an unforgettable farewell to a country he'd loved and served so well. Dwight Eisenhower reminded us that peace was purchased only at the price of strength, and John F. Kennedy spoke of the burden and glory that is freedom.
And Gracjan Kraszewski is going to discuss Vandal Catholic Intellect things.
Hello everyone, welcome to our Vandal Catholic State of the Union address. My name is Gracjan Kraszewski. I'm Director of Intellectual Formation at Vandal Catholic. Because we're going to be starting our fall semester soon, 2 to 3 weeks, there's always new people coming in, a lot of new faces. It might be worthwhile to give you some background information on who I am and what we do. So I'll be starting actually my 11th semester, my 6th year as Director of Intellectual Formation. This is a position that is history, philosophy, theology. We always try to offer a course every semester. If you go on to vandalcatholic.com, you can see past course offerings. We've done American Civil War, First World War, Catholicism in Architecture, Catholicism in Film. Most recently, a class called Catholicism and Disasters. Did a class on beauty. Those courses on beauty and Catholicism and Disasters you can actually watch on this YouTube channel. If you go to the playlist and you look at maple syrup history, you can see different episodes of things that we've offered in the past. But before I talk about our offering, not just for this semester, but for the whole year, I want to give you some background information on myself. Again, because we have new people coming in, a lot of, it might be worthwhile as we start kind of whole brand new year. So just like in the medical profession, you have people that are cardiologists, brain surgeons, foot and ankle. My specialty is 19th century America. I earned my PhD in 2016 from Mississippi State University, American Civil War, 19th century America. And then in general at the university level, I also do classes in modern Europe and modern America, kind of 1500 onward, and things to do with design, architecture. But again, in this role as Director of Intellectual Formation, there is this nice freedom to anchored in a kind of Catholic lens to a topic to really kind of go broad brush and expand as we see fit. Before I talk about the class though, a large portion of my work as Director of Intellectual Formation, in addition to doing this class, in addition to doing an annual great debate, in addition to alongside our wonderful pastor, Father Chase Hasenrall, doing a monthly catechetical series called Spirit and Life, which is on kind of dogmatic issues. You can also find some of those videos on this channel under Catholic Topics Talks. Writing is also a big kind of like thing that I do, kind of part of my role. Apropos my PhD, my first academic book was put out by Kent State University Press. It's called Catholic Confederates, Faith and Duty in the Civil War South. This is from that foot and ankle specialty of 19th century America. Was my dissertation on Catholicism in the American South during the Civil War. My first novel was a book called The Holdout in 2018 from Adelaide Books, a press located in Lisbon and New York. And then most recently, a small novella, Seraphim and the Dust Plague, and the Hippo Lectures, the Catholic Catalan orations. Both the Hippo Lectures and Seraphim and the Dust Plague were put out by Aruka Press in Toronto. I'd like to call your attention specifically to the Hippo Lectures because, as I said earlier, in addition to doing this class, once a semester, leading the Great Debate, doing catechetical talks, I also give a once per month talk called a Hippo Lecture, which obviously enough, right? St. Augustine of Hippo, the St. Augustine Center, is kind of often a more experimental, often fiction-based, artistic kind of piece on whatever it may be, We have a live audience. The talk usually goes about 40 minutes. There's question and answer afterwards. And if you're really interested in like, well, what has this guy done at the Augustine Center in terms of creating original work in the aforementioned 5 years that he's been here now, starting his 6th year, I'd encourage you to check out the Hippo lectures. You can go through and look at different topics that we talked about and kind of become self-explanatory. Why Catholic art matters today, faith and athletics, should American Catholics demand a true third-party political option, the church and environmentalism, on beer, love and responsibility, Catholicism in film, on what a Catholic college should be, Catholic economics, just different kind of topics that are pressing within the church and society today. And finally, a huge shout out to Aruka Press and the wonderful leader, head editor there, Alex Barbas. Aruka Press, like I said, did Sarah from the Dust Plague and the Hippo lectures. They are putting out my 900-page novel called Thermonuclear Mirth this summer. It should be out. It's been signed with them since November 2021, but because it's 900 pages, there's been a lot of kind of revisions and back and forth, and the art team designing the cover. But it should be out any day now. I, of course, will send an update when that comes. But those 5 books are kind of a part and parcel of the original work, the kind of scholarship that Vandal Catholic Intellect puts forth. Here is a brief snippet of a video you can find about this 900-page novel.
Born in 1890, found a school in the Mexican desert after the Second World War because he's disillusioned with American consumerism. And so he wants to completely mock American society and creates majors like dog poetry, stuff like this, and selling people a bunch of horrible products. And he's like, I want to show the American idiot consumer in their Levittown picket fence when they buy this stuff how stupid they are, and maybe finally realize I need to search for deeper truth. Why have we jettisoned this? Why have we become so consumeristic, materialistic, whatever?
All right, so you saw at the end, I took you to arukapress.com, and the publication date, as you can see on there, is late August, early September. If you're like, wow, you keep, praising these guys 7 ways to Sunday until the cows come home. Yeah, Aruka Press is unbelievable. Alex is amazing. I really encourage you to check out arukapress.com in general, not just for these books that are related to myself, but just their press is fantastic. A final pitch that I want to just make about this novel, like why, and before we kind of move on talking about the year of St. Augustine, is quite simply put, I don't think as Catholics we just do enough fiction anymore. Invariably, any type of Catholic interview, podcast, whatever, whenever it gets around to talking about Catholic fiction, it's Flannery O'Connor, Walker Percy, Graham Greene. We'll even bring C.S. Lewis into the discussion, who wasn't even Catholic, Chesterton, of course. And all these Catholic writers are fantastic. They are wonderful. One of my favorite passages in the Bible, St. John the Baptist, about Christ, I am unworthy to loose the thongs of his sandals. I'll say that, right? I'm not saying Catholic writers today and this new generation of Catholic writers is going to be better than Flannery O'Connor and Walker Percy. Only time will tell with stuff like that. What I am saying is that all these people have been dead for a long, long time. And we have to ask ourselves as Catholics, are we just going to kind of pass the buck? Are we just going to say, well, we just don't, anything that's Catholic writing now has to be some kind of self-help book, has to be some kind of spiritual testimony, none of which is bad. Those books are incredible. I've taken a lot of profit from books exactly like that. But I think we need bold, new, experimental type Catholic fiction works, fiction for its own self. The best example that I can think of, and again, I'm not comparing myself to this person, but that we should all be aiming for these kind of lofty goals, is Dante's Divine Comedy. Dante looks at his society and writes a fictional account, right, of himself going through hell, purgatory, and heaven. And it's unbelievably entertaining. It's not just something that gives spiritual benefit, as it's been called the Summa in verse, but it's something too that's fun, exciting. I feel like we're not doing enough of that anymore as Catholics. It's just go read Chesterton. Oh, his orthodoxy is so amazing. Orthodoxy is unbelievable. It was also written in 1908. It's 116 years ago. We need to have new, fresh kind of voices. So with that, when the book comes out, I encourage you to read it and check it out and see if if you're like, I agree with you, this is awesome, it's a great book, or how dare you go on that rant, and then I bought your book and I was disappointed. Well, find out for yourself. But that's kind of the whole point, is that we need Catholic books that are not just, here's my own personal faith testimony, here's like a new way to pray. No, just like a totally fictional, in your face, absurdist, maximalist kind of crazy book. That's what thermonuclear mirth is. So wrapping up on that point, those 5 books are kind of the production element of what Vandal Catholic Intellect does, the kind of original work. And again, we have the debate, and we have the Hippo lectures, and we have the Catechetical Spirit and Life series. Now, finally, what is the year of St. Augustine? Well, it's about time. I think it was a genius idea by Father Chase and the center writ large to say that, hey, as we move into 2024, let's do this year of St. Augustine. Let's not just have, like I mentioned earlier, a class in the fall, Catholicism and Disasters, and do something wholly unconnected in the spring, etc. Let's have an entire year, a fall and spring, one kind of like unit, one story, a introduction, conclusion, simply dedicated to our grand patron. Because St. Augustine honestly is, as I said earlier, without question, and across the board, and not just for Catholics, Protestants too, one of the greatest figures of Christianity. And so let's do him the justice of really investigating him, bringing his work, his ideas, his insights to life. So the Hippo lectures themselves, they make up this book. Although in the past, as you can read in the book, they had like fiction pieces and stuff, this year, in this year of Augustine, they're all about St. Augustine. In September, I'll talk about the city of God versus the city of man. In October, the problem of evil. November, attractions and attachments. Come 2025, in January, the topic will be chastity. Augustine famously has a quote, right? Lord, grant me chastity, just not yet. He famously struggles with sexual sin, and it's a very kind of like, I know this part of his biography. We'll talk about that in January. We'll talk about the Donatists in February, that heresy and Augustine's fighting against them. And then in March and April, we'll do something with time and the eternal now. And the eternal now, the idea that for God, right, God simply is. Like we experience time as past, present, and future. God is the eternal now. And the idea of eternity is not infinite time, like, millions and billions of years. It's the absence of time. We'll talk about that over the course of 2 months. So that'll be kind of our 7 Hippo lectures to look forward to. And the class itself, once more, you could do no better than to regularly, if you're interested in these things, than to on a regular basis check vandalcatholic.com, because over the next coming days, hopefully within the next 10 days, 2 weeks max, I'll be posting a formal syllabus. I'll be posting these reading links, and you'll be able to go out and get them yourselves and feel like, I'm going to become a kind of full participant in the class. So what does that mean? To kind of wrap up this whole video with the class itself. I've talked to you about the production aspect, Vandal Catholic in general, and even talked to you about the themes that the Hippo lectures are going to contain this year. What about the class itself? The class will meet on Mondays from 1:20 to 2:50. 1:20 to 2:50, I think it goes without saying PM, right? 1:20 to 2:50 in the afternoon at the St. Augustine Center. And we're going to have another meeting later in the week on Fridays, on Friday morning, most likely at 9 o'clock. So what we'll do is every week, and I'm going to read you all these themes. Every week we're going to have a certain theme, and we'll discuss it as a large group. And in the past, we've had as many as 25 people in this St. Alypius room at the Augustine Center, so everybody's welcome. And it's also going to be put online as well for people who want to watch at distance. But on Mondays, 1:20 to 2:50, we'll discuss that topic, the listed topic. And then Friday, we'll have a kind of more informal, smaller discussion group about it. My goal with this is to make the class as accessible as possible for people. Maybe people feel intimidated that, like, well, the 1:20 to 2:50, it's like an upper level undergrad, early grad school, and it is. It's put at a high level type class. That sounds kind of intense. I kind of want to come to get a kind of a Cliff Notes version later in the week. That's what the Friday meeting will be. And so here are the themes. I'm going to read you the date. I'm going to read you like what we're going to be discussing. And please note, all I'm reading is the Monday date. So Monday, August 19th. Every date that I read following that, they're all Mondays. I'm just reading you the main thing that we'll discuss on Monday in that large meeting, 120 to 250. And just please note, unmentioned for the whole thing is the Friday smaller Cliff Notes meeting. So first meeting, August 19th, intro to class in Augustine. And we in fact do a 3-class intro, August 19th, 26th, and September 2nd. These are all kind of biographical background information pieces on Augustine. Me gathering all these notes from different biographies and sources and just kind of presenting the man to you. The idea being, hey, we're going to be spending an entire year from August 19th through, let's say, May 1st of 2025, a whole school year, fall and spring semesters, on this man, St. Augustine. It might be worthwhile to spend the first 3 classes, August 19th, 26th, and September 2nd, just discussing, who this guy was. Week 4, September 2nd, we start Confessions. I will tell you now, right off the bat, that from September 2nd through October 21st, and that is, I think those are 8 classes, from week 4 to week 11, the only thing that we're discussing on that Monday and Friday are Confessions and City of God, his 2 most famous works. We are going to talk about so much, so many polemics, so many tracts, so many sermons, so much stuff that he did, really get into the weeds come late fall, especially January, February. But I want to start you off, I think that's fair enough, with those 3 things. To start you off with 3 classes of biography, a standard lecture, and then 8 classes on Confessions and City of God, his 2 main works. Confessions, his great personal spiritual autobiography, and then City of God, written in 410, as Rome is threatening, is teetering on the brink. We know Rome falls in 476. As Rome is coming, apart at the seams. Well, why, right? And he's talking about the necessity of Christians, of course, as the title puts forth, to focus on the city of God, our true home, whatever is happening in this fallen city of man. And you might jog your memory back immediately, 5 minutes or so. That's going to be my first Hippo lecture in September, City of God versus City of Man. So September 2nd, 9th, and 16th, 3 classes on Confessions. You'll see in the syllabus, remember, vandalcatholic.com, Confessions, X through page 89. So for September 2nd, you have to have read the intro, X through 89. You come back to the next class, September 9th, Confessions 90 through 220. These, of course, are page numbers. And, on vandalcatholic.com, I'll show you, it's the Oxford Classic Standard Edition, the most popular, most basic one. But so, what to expect for class come Monday, September 9th, all we're discussing is Confessions 90 through 220. We're very focused on those 130 pages. I'm giving you my notes. You're giving me feedback. We're having this discussion. And then how cool is it, the Cliff Notes version on the Friday of that week, so 16th, 17th, the 20th, September 20th, that half-hour, 40-minute Friday morning meeting is a kind of recapitulation, a revisiting of the larger long-form meeting. From September 23rd through October 21st, the next 5 classes, all City of God. All City of God. So for the first 2 months of the class, from August 19th through October 21st, we're doing nothing but reading Confessions, City of God, and having had a nice biographical introduction to the man. October 28th, on the Trinity, Book 8. November 4th, on the Good of Marriage. November 11th, on Holy Virginity. November 18th, on Marriage and Concupiscence, Books 1 and 2. And our final class, because we have Thanksgiving break after that, when we're totally off, from November 25th through 29th, our final class meeting, our penultimate class meeting, but final primary source class meeting, Monday, December 2nd, on Punishment and Grace. And then the true final time that we meet before the Christmas break on December 9th is a full review of the semester, looking ahead to springtime. At this point, I don't know yet how it'll break out, but we will be reading on the Harmony of the Gospels, on Christian doctrine, 83 different questions, and then we're also going to be looking at, come April, different authors that were influenced by Augustine. Most famously, what are the kind of ways in which they differ? The 2 great Western fathers, Augustine, and then the 2 two great Western thinkers, and St. Thomas Aquinas 800 years later. So come April, we'll be looking at the different influences Augustine had upon later Christian thought, the Counter-Reformation era, all up into our modern day. So once more, and kind of concluding, if you come and do this class, you're going to have, I don't want to call it a crash course. I think you're going to have a worthy, not just introduction, but kind of meeting up with, a learning about St. Augustine. Between the Hippo lectures that I'll do as these monthly, 45-minute intensive lectures, between the 3 opening biographical classic lectures, which will give you a nice kind of biographical outline, and then just in the fall, right? We read Confession, City of God, on the Trinity, on the good of marriage, Holy Virginity, marriage. I'm running out of fingers to count upon, but it's like 2 books and 5 different excerpts and stuff. So it truly will be a lot. And then what I'm really excited about is that come springtime, for the first time, this will now be the 11th class that I've done at St. Augustine's. For the first time, it's not like come Christmas or come May, well, that closed loop, that closed set of 30 lectures or whatever it is over. No, this carries over into the spring. So it'll be very, very exciting that if anyone is a newcomer coming to Augustine's for the first time and you join up with the class in the fall, it's not like, well, I better get all this stuff crammed in before December because come springtime, it's something wholly different and I got to change my mental track and we're talking about new stuff. Not at all. This entire year will be dedicated to our patron, St. Augustine of Hippo. So I really hope to see you in class. Thank you for all of people that have really engaged with the program the whole time that I've been here. It's a wonderful community. I mean that sincerely. I really value, treasure all of you, both in a kind of professional sense, your in-class work, your excellent questions, but also on a personal level. You guys are truly the best. You're in my prayers, wishing you nothing but the best with the rest of your summer and all that kind of thing, and safe travels coming back. And if anything comes up, do not hesitate to email me. vandalcatholic.com. Once more, you'll find all the staff info. My email is intellect@vandalcatholic.com. So until next time, God bless you guys, and I'll be seeing you soon. Take care.